Hello, Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, we're going to be going over the induced transition because I've had a lot of messages lately about people going into induced transitions, not understanding how to get out, not understanding why they're there. And this is really the key for truly understanding what the induced transition is and how it affects your layer of reality and your reality creation process without getting a handle on why you are going into an induced transition. There's really no way that you are going to avoid the induced transition. So I'm going to run over a few thoughts, the basics, and then a little bit more advanced because there are really two different types of induced transitions from my experience. There's the induced transition that you create with your mind and you get sucked into via a pendulum that is a constant in your external environment. This could be things like family drama or drama with your significant other. This could be the media. This could be anything that is in your layer of reality that triggers you, hooks you, and then sends you on that decline. Then there are the more serious induced transitions. These are induced transitions that happen because of something catastrophic in your reality, or maybe something really, really big like a dissolving of your marriage, a divorce, having a child die, having somebody die close to you. Maybe you lose your job or you become ill or some big life-changing event that sends you on this downward spiral, and I will get into the spiral in a moment, sends you on this downward spiral to the extent where you are having a hard time or a challenging time seeing the clearing in the woods. So both of these are navigatable through different means, more so the first type of induced transition. And I'm going to go into also how this first type of induced transition that I described is actually a good thing. It's a really, really good thing and can be used as a tool for helping you clean your layer of reality. So before I get started though, remember to like this video, subscribe, comment below, all of that stuff. The courses Reality 2.0 and Tufty 2.0 down below. Check them out and join us on the Facebook group, the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group. Check me out on Instagram, reality_transurfing. And keep an eye out for the Becoming Magnetic course. In my experience, using a lot of these tools and concepts that I suggest in this course, this is really immensely beneficial if you are challenged in stabilizing between higher layers of reality, lower layers of reality, the wave of fortune, the induced transition, diving into self and really working on your levels of self-care and self-love and becoming magnetic. It makes you a little bit less susceptible to this roller coaster of ups and downs in the transurfing modality. So definitely keep an eye out. We're going to relaunch that soon and let's get right into it. So first of all, what is an induced transition exactly for those of you that don't know, or for those of you that would like to hear the definition from my own terminology? So the induced transition and the wave of fortune are more or less the same thing. The physics behind both of these concepts in the transurfing modality are the same thing. Just one is spiraling up. This is the wave of fortune. And then the other is spiraling down. This is the induced transition. So transurfing in a nutshell is what you focus on is what you get. And if you tune your frequency to positive information, grabbing on to that first bit of positive information, a positive event, something really beneficial or good happening in your reality, and you tune your frequency to that event, then this could be the start of the wave of fortune. More and more and more, you will exponentially see material, evidence, information, events, all these things that align with this initial frequency. You'll see them exponentially appear in your layer of reality. This is how you catch the wave of success. The exact same holds true for the induced transition. If you grab onto a negative piece of information, or you tune your frequency to a negative event, let's say something catastrophic that happens in the world, and you tune your frequency by tuning into the news or, really getting sucked into this drama, what happens is the pendulum has hooked you and lowered your frequency to match the resonating frequency of this information. So then you're there, you're primed, you are pendulum food. And unless you catch yourself in this moment that your frequency has dipped down, you are going to start that spiral down, going to some lower layers of reality, just like you did in the wave of fortune. If you tune your frequency to that catastrophic event, then you are there. Events and information and material and evidence to support whatever theory you have just adhered to, let's say the world's coming undone, right? You are going to be presented exponentially with more and more and more of the same. This is exactly why when you go into an induced transition, your mood suffers, and then you seemingly encounter more and more bad events. So it's simply the decline from your resonating, frequency, your state of being that you're maybe neutral or above neutral, to lower where you exactly do not want to go. This is where you don't want to go in the transurfing modality. So how can you protect yourself? Frequency is a huge one. Making certain that you understand what your triggers are. And I will get into how this sort of information can really be beneficial to you and your reality, obviously. But protecting yourself is truly in raising your levels of awareness to the extent that you can see it when it's happening. I see myself and I see my reality. For me, what transpired is when I first started transurfing is I would be high, I would be, doing my transurfing thing, layer of reality, really looking nice, feeling really good, feeling really positive, seeing a lot of benefits exponentially increase in my reality. And then suddenly, like a few days later, I would wake up in an induced state and feel like, a few days prior, I had lost all of that progress that I made. And I would say to myself, what happened? Where did my transurfing mindset go? Where did this pink cloud go? And I would retrace my steps and get back to a pendulum that hooked me, maybe a family member that called me and started an argument, some news that I read, something maybe financially happening, or an argument with my boyfriend or whatever. And I would see very clearly the descent that took place after this event. So what really happened for me is that I started to catch myself more and more frequently. As my transurfing practice evolved, I would find myself waking up more quickly after I took the bait from the pendulum. So initially it would happen like a week later, then it was like 4 days later, then it was a couple days later, and then I could realize it the next day, right? I would started to wake up quicker and quicker and quicker. And then if it happened in the morning, maybe the pendulum got me in the evening. By the evening, I could say, hey, wait a second, what just went down? Oh, the pendulum caught you this morning. And then even that time started to decrease until it got to the point where I would realize it immediately after. And then the magic, I would realize it happening in the moment. This is one of your triggers, and you have now initiated an induced transition. So this brings me to how an induced transition can actually help you and your layer of reality. So the idea of transurfing is our layer of reality gets purged or cleansed of these pendulums and triggers that keep us on this emotional roller coaster, especially if your awareness does not yet support you waking up in the moment. The idea for me, what has really worked for me, is making certain that if I get triggered by a pendulum in my reality and I see very quickly that an induced transition has been initiated, I know that I need to go about managing that pendulum. I cannot just allow that pendulum to be sort of rogue in my layer of reality and me not deal with it, because this is energetically exhausting, having to deal with a pendulum in the moment only to then deal with it the next day. It becomes about managing your pendulums to the extent where you're not constantly having to deal with them. So this can be a really, really good tool if you are serious in committing to a transurfing practice, that you use these moments, no matter how soon you wake up or how much later you wake up, but acknowledging that those things are the things that trigger you. So again, let's run through a few things just so we're totally clear about what can trigger an induced transition. There are the external things: arguing with people, getting into workplace, conflict, their social media, any sort of negative information coming into your layer of reality, paying attention to things like war and poverty and pandemic and all sorts of, environmental stressors that are out of your control. Tuning into these things does absolutely nothing to improve your layer of reality. It just makes you susceptible to an induced transition. Fighting with a loved one, fighting with a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a best friend that's toxic, and every time you encounter this person, something happens to your mindset. It could be your own self-talk. It could be negative thoughts about yourself and your life. It could be virtually anything that is going to lower your mood or cause you to see your reality through a lens or a filter that suddenly makes things seem more depressed or not as beautiful or alive, or things, again, that are out of your control, and you become emotionally affected. So people that tune into stuff like animal abuse and poverty things and all sorts of world events, all of this stuff is just, this is not where your focus should be if you want to actively transurf. It's going to be really, really difficult for you to achieve those higher levels of reality if you are focusing on this sort of information. That being said, the induced transition is not something that can be avoided 100%. And the catalyst for this video was somebody in the Facebook group saying, oh my God, this keeps happening to me. Why does this keep happening to me? The induced transition, even for me, I experience the induced transition regularly, but I only dip down a very, very small amount before I catch myself. And then I know exactly what to do to get myself out of that little dip and actually use it as a springboard to bounce up to some of those higher levels of reality. So let's talk about, what if it's really serious? What if it's something catastrophic? Which is something that I experienced a few years ago. It's probably about 3 years ago now. I had a roommate that committed suicide, and it was very, very shocking to me because I didn't even know he was depressed, and we lived in a very small house together, and I felt like he was, you know, a vivacious person and enjoyed life, and he was physically active, and he had a good social life, and he had an excellent job. And I really did not see that coming. Very, very, very shocking when it happened. And he killed himself, really devastating to me emotionally. And I got rocked. I was like really rocked. I just went plummeting. I mean, my mood, my mindset, my perceptions of reality, everything just took an absolute nosedive. And it took me like 2 months to come out of this state. Now, when this happened and I realized what was going on, first of all, it happened 2 days before I was scheduled to give a really extensive seminar in the UK. And it was really hard to get through the seminar. I did it sort of knowing that once I got home, I was going to allow myself to just kind of like come undone. So I went and I gave the seminar. I came home. I knew a massive induced transition was imminent, and I kind of just let it happen. And I realized in me going through this 2-month process of coming to terms with what had happened and understanding it and accepting it and all that kind of stuff, that there are some times in life where you simply will not be able to control your induced transition. So once I was in it, I was like, okay, you are in a serious induced transition. You are going to simply have to care for yourself the best that you possibly can. So as I suggested with my Becoming Magnetic course, these ideas really helped me, really going inward, lots and lots and lots of self-care and self-love and focusing on myself in an extreme sort of way. So when you cannot control it and you are in a place where you see yourself, you see your reality, you have to sort of move through that space, right? Like the only way out is through sort of idea, then just maintaining awareness of your state of being and sort of looking at it objectively, immense and extreme amounts of self-care and self-love and eating healthy and exercising and making certain that you don't deplete yourself even further by lack of self-care. This is kind of like my top trick if something big happens. So induced transition is not avoidable. It is a fact of life. It's a reality. And you can use these moments to, again, clean your layer of reality, accept what it is that you have to go through, and maintaining awareness about this transitional time and move through the space. But if you're really, really into getting a really solid transurfing practice down, I would definitely suggest paying attention, journaling possibly if you are doing this and you don't know how to get yourself away from that, journaling exactly what's triggering you and go about managing these parts of your layer of reality and cleaning them up so you're not constantly dealing with them. Because again, energetically exhaustive, and we need our energy to facilitate things that are going to put us in that path of our higher lifeline, send us on a trajectory of improvement rather than decline. So let me know what you think of this video, everybody. I hope I explained it well. And any questions, thoughts, comments, please add them below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.